Wow. Hey, much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, hope you guys having a good Shabbat, good Saturday. Hope you're having a good week. Had a good week in the present. Hope you're doing good right now. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you taking the time to do that. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to all the members, all the Patreons, all my moderators. I see you guys. Today, just a quick video. Something I just wanted to mention and talk about. I know there's already a lot of videos out there and people talking about all this stuff. So just wanted to actually, as I talk about it, read an interesting legend, or what they call myth, of the Pemon Indians of Venezuela. As we're talking about ancient giant trees, okay? So in case you weren't aware of that, pretty interesting story, and then some other correlation. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of stuff. You know, you guys decide whether it's history or myth. We're in part 20. All right, part 20. Again, welcome. The ancient giant trees, the cedars of God. When mountains were trees. Yeah. Shout out to one of the original people who, he had a YouTube, he had a video going around. It was called, No Forest and Flat Earth. And then everybody kind of hopped on the bandwagon. That's how I met 432 The Drop Radio. First time I saw one of Drop's videos, he was actually showing that video of the our ancient giant trees, and it just kind of like activated me, woke me up. Like, yeah, we got to question everything. Hey, Ambush Predator, much love and respect. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. Shout out to St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Canada in the house. Shout out to all the Canadian family out there. Thank you for your support. Everybody in Europe, everybody in the States, all over the world. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so what I wanted to do is, hold on, let me pull out. Just so you guys can know. Let me hit new share. All right, we got the playlist, just so you guys know, history or myth. We got part 1 about the Piazza bird. Part 3 we did the rock walls of Texas, Rockwall, Texas. Part 4 we got the Phelps brothers, the real faces of Lincoln and many other historical people. Yeah, check it out. We got part 5, Legend of Giants. Part 6, the Egyptian brass plates of the Mormon, Book of Mormon. Part 7. We got this is in 1969, construction workers found a 200,000-year-old floor in Oklahoma. Yeah, part 8, we're talking about Burroughs Cave. Is this the fraud or find of the century? The tomb of Alexander the Great. Part 9, history of myth, forbidden ancient underground tunnels, dead man's secrets. Part 10, the Great Wall of Mississippi, a prehistoric structure. Yeah. Part 11, Thoth, Hermes, Enoch, Phoenix, Peacock, Iblis, Hermetics, Satan. Part 12, history or myth, the Black Death, the devastation of the Indians, Deuteronomy 28 fulfilled. Part 13, ancient Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, Kincaid's report, all newspaper reports. Check out all the parts, guys. All the videos you missed. I know a lot of people tell me, you should do a video on this, you should video on that. And I say, I already did. Gotta catch up. Part 14, Israelite founders of Greece and Troy. All right. Part 15, history or myth, Ireland, Ur of the Chaldees. A whole 5-hour breakdown. Look at that. Whole book we're reading here, guys. Part 16 was Noah and albino, the great grandson of a Nephilim. History or myth, 2 million plus year old fossilized modern human skull found in California, right? We're talking about the Calavera skull. Part 18, humans in America, older than thought, 130,000 years ago in California. And recently we did part 19, which is, the tribe of Dan in the ancient world. Seafaring Danites, more than just Bible stories. It's up to you. And today we're going to do part 20. We're going to get into these ancient trees, right? Again, a lot of people done research on this, so we just, going over it. Just want to go ahead and get to the part where we're reading about the legend. But before that, I put together a little video collection here. We're going to start out with here, guys. Just to go ahead and get the eyes going, the sight, your senses going, right? Just to get your senses going, all right? All right, we're gonna start. This is if you guys don't know, right here, this is Devil's Tower, but we'll get into that. Hope you guys enjoy. Real quick, we're gonna get into this video real quick.
The earth was covered in giant trees.
Mountains are effectively giant trees or giant tree stumps. We know this because we can compare the pictures in some of these huge mountains and we can tell that many of them look like a tree stump. For example, the Devil's Tower. The formation of this tree is just crazy, and if you look at the shape and size and also the hexagonal forms, this is only possible in an organism. Lava, which obviously goes from an explosion, will never form such perfect shapes. So guys, this is incredible because this shows that the past has been very different, they lie to us, and of course that the mainstream science will never accept this, but the evidence is out there. You decide if you want to believe this or not. I am just showing you the things that are in front of you in black and white, and it's up to you to make your final decision.
Petrified giant trees. These trunks are proof of what remains of a forest made of giant trees. The fossil are perfectly preserved and they can be seen across
Stop
the
what
world.
you're doing right now. This video could change your entire life outlook. You know what lava looks like, right? Like, we know what lava looks like as it's hot, runs kind of like a river finding its level. You think that lava would ever form sacred, geometrical shapes like hexagonal shapes or anything? Seriously, just to make sure that nobody thinks that this is possible, that hexagonal shapes would be formed from volcanoes or lava. Look at it when it's hardened. Look, like a black river or something. I've shown you what lava looks like cooled and hot from a volcano. And we're told that this was formed from a volcano. Yeah. Remember Avatar? The huge tree that was cut down? Might have been a little bit of reality mixed in with that science fiction, but look how level this is on top. And is this sawdust from... Now, before I start reprogramming your brain, look, it makes a lot more sense, man, than lava. Seriously, like springwood, summerwood, hexagonal shapes, like, thought it was one example. No, these trees were all over. Look at this. Yeah, look at that. Would you look at that? More hexagonal. Look at that. Look at the root system. This guy owns this. He lives in a tree.
Yep.
This has got to be insane energy. This guy's going to live forever.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, like the roots. See the roots? You'll see the roots going up, and then the tree was cut down. Yeah, I don't know how big these things were. I have no idea. Pretty odd, like, formation. Like, completely level on the top. Maybe like it was cut down by a giant axe. Not seeing it? I don't know how. I don't know how you would. This is an axe. See? Easy to understand. The trees are just the beginning.
This is what happens. All these pieces fall to the ground. Uh-oh, shit. Okay. And then some of them get washed away in the river. They break apart. They become smaller pieces and rounded. But these pieces, this piece right here could be as large as an apartment building. Okay? This piece could be as large as an apartment building. And then they smooth and round, and you see all the rings in them. Sometimes they get filled in. They become monolithic, and it becomes it looks like one big giant stone, just like this. Okay, it's just weathered. These rings get filled in. Okay, it's important to understand that. Okay? This is what happens, exactly. and then things get weathered, smooth, and eroded. And like I said earlier, it's like pickup sticks. All the branches from these giant trees just fell and crisscrossed. And they got washed away by the floods, just like all these pieces in the river. Okay? All these pieces in the river you see here are no different. Okay? Are no different what I've been showing you.
What you think is nothing more than just rocks are but the fractions of what remains of the massive forest that once swept this realm. There was far more oxygen back then, and these were the trees that helped produce it. We have been told so many lies from the moment we stepped foot in a classroom. From a very early age, it seems we were told what everything wasn't. And with that, it's quite easy to hide things in plain sight. It's hard to see the forest through the trees, they say. In this case, it's hard to see the massive forest through the little trees. We were never told to look anywhere else. But just open your eyes and imagine what was. It is no coincidence. Every ancient civilization, every religion, the world over, all talked about these world trees. Just look how Cairo, Egypt used to be depicted in maps. Pyramids built right on top of them, most likely harnessing the energy right from those massive world trees. History is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. Question everything, friends.
Giant petrified tree. Found it in a really weird spot. Completely cordoned off. Look at the bark on that bad boy. Great. Huge fossilized tree. Wanted to show you guys that one.
Hey, what's up mga kabarangay? Ito pala yun eh. Ito pa yung magkakaroon. Wow. Ito nga. Ito nga. Kahapon ito malaki. Ito po oh. Wow. Ito nga. Pinutol. Galing oh.
All right. Wow. So, yeah, pretty interesting, right? Let me get the mood going again. We're gonna get into this story real quick, and then I'm gonna show you some. We're gonna see some skyline footage of Mount Roraima in Venezuela, but we're gonna read this real quick. VenezuelanIndian.blogspot.com. They have a tale here. On behalf of the Pemon Indians of the area, the indigenous people around this area. Now, Mount Roraima, let's see if we could, let's go to Google Earth. Let's see if we can do this live. Hope you guys enjoying presentation. Let's go explore the marble, the fake ball, spinning ball. Okay, you know, dodge the hijack on that. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right, can we get out of here? Okay. Let's go Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima. All right, so this is where we're talking about right now. So it's not just one, it's a lot of little, okay, so this whole thing. These are the stumps of trees, guys. This might have been one huge tree, they're saying, too. But you guys see what we're talking about. Now, Mount Roraima is like in the border of Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil. All right, it's right on the border of all three. Very remote area. Some pictures of it right here. They call it the islands in the skies, just like in Avatar, the movie, because it gets so high, clouds go over it and it looks like it's floating. All right, so we're gonna read a little bit about that. It's called the Tree of Life. This is the initial story, but we're gonna skip over to this part already, where they're talking about the Great Flood and the creation of Roraima. All right, so it says Pemon Myth 3, the Great Flood and the creation of Roraima. This myth continues the story of Makunaima and his brother after they find a magical tree in the jungle, which has all the fruits and crops in the world growing from its branches. It recounts the cause of the Great Flood, the origin of fish, and the creation of Mount Roraima. The text is taken from Maria Manuela de Cora's book, Quai Mare, Mitos Aborígenes de Venezuela, or the Myths of the Aborigines of Venezuela, from 1957. It was originally collected by the German ethnologist Theodor Koch-Grunberg during his 1911-1912 expedition to the Pemon villages near Roraima. So many people, guys, just want to say, have taken many explorations to this very remote area. It's like literally the place where they got the inspiration to write The Lost World, the book. You know, all these crazy stories, Journey to the Center of the Earth, all that. It was based on their explorations going into Mount Roraima. It is literally like a lost world. Some say there's still possible so-called dinosaurs. We say dracons. And You know, it has its own species, it has its own weather and everything up there. They still haven't found everything. It has its own environment in the top, you know, water's coming out of it and everything. It feeds into the Amazon, Orinoco, and another major river. Three major rivers in this area. It feeds, right? So it says, not many moons has passed since Makunaima and his brothers had first eaten the fruit from the magic tree, Wasaka. Sorry. When Manape came up with the idea of cutting it down. And just like that, he told the others. But a coolie Agoti, who was very intelligent, told him, how can you think such a thing? The Wasaka provides us with its fruits, and all of us can eat from it. If you chop it down, not only will we all lose out, but it will create a huge flood as well. A huge flood. So, in the previous story, you know, they talk about these, they found a gigantic trees. You know, let me just get to that part. You guys can see. Sorry, we live, okay? It's probably use. Says thicker and tall. So there it was, the world tree. Thicker and taller than any other tree. It was like a great mountain in the middle of the jungle. The knots in the bark were like rocky gorges embedded in the trunk. So lush was this vegetation that the sunlight stopped when way passed over the top of its high canopy. In the half-light that penetrated past its branches, wasps, parrots, macaws, and many other birds fought over the delicious fruit, which gave off a fragrant aroma and never ran out. Manape was struck dumb as he tried to take it all in, and then he turned to the others and said angrily, how could you come here every day and fill your bellies without telling anybody? Don't be angry, said Akuli, apologetically. We only wanted to play a trick on you. So basically they find this huge tree, which was feeding many animals, had many fruits, right? And then on what we're reading just now, this is when they're talking about, oh, let's cut this tree down. Somebody wants to cut this tree down. All right? And said, well, why are you going to do that? It's going to create a huge flood. Manape listened to everything, thinking he would ignore it because he was very stubborn. And then he went to the corner where he kept his enormous axe, hefted it on his shoulder, and walked across the valley and into the jungle towards the tree of life. You guys hear that? So, are we talking about giants here? Are we talking about giant people? A coolie followed behind to see if he could avert the flood. And walking one behind the other, they soon arrived at that far place, draped in shadows and heavy with perfume, where the wasaka tree raised its leafy bulk over the roof of the forest, then high above it. Manapi approached the tree with determination and tested his axe against its impenetrable bark. The axe bounced off the wood without leaving the tiniest sign. It had even graced it. So Manapi had another go at the wasaka. But this time he intoned in a powerful voice that reverberated through the whole forest. Masapayek, Elupayek, Makupayek. With this spell he evoked the Masapa, Mamao, and Kariaka trees, which have very soft wood, to see if the wood of the wasaka would soften. No sooner had he said the magic words when the wood of the wasaka tree became soft, and Manape's axe bit deep into the trunk and started to cut deeper and deeper. Akuli meanwhile became very afraid and begged Manape again not to try to cut the tree down. But seeing that Manape was not listening to him, he began frantically collecting beeswax and fruit husks to try and fill the gashes opening up in the tree trunk and see if he could avert the flood that way. But Manape continued even faster in his destruction of the tree of life, with his invocations of soft wood trees. He named them all, one by one, and then finally he said, Palulu Yak. The trunk went really soft, and the axe went so far into the wasaka tree that it opened an enormous gash that left it held together only by a sliver at one end, because with those words Manape had invoked the wood of the papaya tree, which is extremely soft. Meanwhile, all the brothers had arrived at the spot where Manape and Akuli were fighting to achieve their contrary wishes. Just at the moment when it looked like Manape was going to get his wish, there was a furious shout that was heard above all the sounds of the jungle. Waina Yeg! It was Ansikilan, who had run all the way to save the Tree of Life. And with his spell, the Wasaka tree suddenly became very hard again, because Ansikilan had invoked the wood of the Waina tree, which grows in the highest mountains, and whose trunk is as hard as the rocks that form the Mount Roraima waterfall. The axe stopped. It could not advance further. But Manape, blinded by his obsession and without giving up, shouted again with all his strength, Elupayek, Paluluyek. And the tree of life, which had its trunk opened up like a huge, deep cavern, was rapidly torn asunder, then crashes to the earth, its wide branches thrown out to the winds, its high crown laden with fruit, shaking its powerful roots, creaking. Alright, we're gonna stop there real quick. We're gonna come back. Alright, guys, just picture what's going on. They're saying this is Mount Roraima. They're gonna tell you. Alright, we're gonna go to a quick video. We're gonna get a better perspective of Mount Roraima, an aerial view. Alright, guys, real quick. All right, all right. Yeah, so we're gonna go back to the story real quick, guys. All right. Now that you got a little more perspective of what we're talking about, right? They're talking about this this place we just saw on video. That was a tree. This is what their local legend is saying. It was cut down, right? Manape, right? Blinded by his obsession, he's like, I'm gonna cut it down, right? And in its fall, the Wasaka tree threw up stones and mud, plants, bushes, and lianas, and pushed over the trees, Eluyek. All right, there was other trees, Jaluwasalui Majek. All right, there's other plateaus there or tree trunks there, right next to Mount Roraima, forming the mountains called by those names today. And from its immense trunk, roots, and branches was formed the great mountain Roraima. From its trunk, the great mountain Roraima, which rises like a giant from the savannah and silently watches as time suns, moons, and people pass by. The crown of the wasaka tree, heavy with its fruits, rolled down to the northern side of the mountain, and that is why there are so many plantain trees over there that nobody planted. Listen, they are eaten by the evil Mawari spirits, who have their houses on Mount Roraima and other mountains close by. So a lot of the local legends of the local people, when you start going into the videos, guys, you start Googling or watching YouTube videos about Mount Roraima and the indigenous people, hear them talk, they say there's a lot of sorcerers, or there was legends of sorcerers living on Mount Roraima, just like what they're saying here. And the crowns of the trees had fallen towards the south. It would be Arecuna, Pemon, who could enjoy its fruits. The noise of the wasaka tree's fall, which reached the furthest corner of the forest and the savannah like a great sigh, had not yet subsided, when a huge spout of water shot out of the trunk and began to flood everything. Listen, guys, water coming out the tree. Imagine a tree that size, a trunk that size, water rapidly sweeping past Makunaima, Han and his brothers, and battering them with bright drops of water as sharp as arrows. The foaming water carried with it thousands of fish, and the brothers watched them and tried to catch them, but the current was too strong. The largest fish disappeared immediately from view, leaving only the small ones lagging behind so that neither Makunaima or the others could catch the ones they most wanted. And so it was Akuli had, as had predicted in those far off times, the earth and men experienced the great flood. The great flood, huh? This is their version of the great flood, due to a large tree being cut down, guys. And it's actually not the only place or people that talk about a large tree being cut down. I'm talking about indigenous people around the world that also created a flood. You know, over here it says Ayang Tepui, Angel Falls, and Pemon myths. For the Pemon Indians of Venezuela, Gran Sabana region, the imposing tepuis, this is what they call them, tepuis, the tabletop mountains, which rise dramatically out of the jungle and the savannah, are believed to be the abodes of gods or spirits. The whole landscape, in fact, is represented in their myths and legends, with mountains, waterfalls, rivers, and rocks, all serving as reminders of the origin of their world and the culture heroes who brought it into being. All right. Mount Roraima is the highest of the Tepuis and the most easily climbed. Its name comes from the two Pemon words Roroi, meaning blue-green, and Ma, meaning great or powerful. The Pemon also referred to Roraima as the mother of all waters, because it feeds into the three major river systems, the Orinoco in Venezuela, the Essequibo in Guyana, and the Amazon River. Do you understand? This is deep right here. Coming from an ancient tree, huh? And see the Kukena, the mountain next to Roraima, is better known as the Pemon as the Matawi Tepui, meaning the house of the dead. The Pemon believe that the spirits of the dead reside there. The name Kukenan refers to the river which flows from the summit. All right, and so on. So, a little bit on that. A little bit of, look how they put Avatar here, like, they know. So again, islands in the sky, just like Avatar, right? Islands in the sky. The clouds, it goes over the clouds, you guys see? Islands in the sky. Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima hiked to the top of the lost world. Mount Roraima. Roro means blue. Okay, we got that. The highest of the Pacaraima chain of the Tepu Plateau in South America. All right. Let's see. Says since long before the arrival of European explorers, the mountain had held a special significance for the indigenous people of the region, and it is central to many of their myths and legends. The Pemon and Capone natives of the Gran Sabana see Mount Roraima as the stump of a mighty tree that once held all the fruits and tuberous vegetables in the world. Like Eden? You mean like the Garden of Eden? Was the Garden of Eden on a tree? If you guys read the apocryphal books of Adam and Eve, they'll tell you they were like living on like a mountain. They would have to go down where the gentles were, the regular people, the other people. Where Cain met his wife. Felled by Makunaima, their mythical trickster, the tree crashed to the ground, unleashing a terrible flood. The local Indians never attempted to climb the Roraima Tepui. Alright. Flood myths, South America. It's part of a lot of flood myths, Mount Roraima. That's not it. That's a whole other video right there. Where are we here? The Pemon Indians. Says Mount Roraima delivered at a meeting. Says Stern and Perkins' exhilarating report on Mount Roraima. Delivered at the meeting of the Royal Geographical Society, allegedly inspired by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to write a novel about prehistoric animals living on a remote plateau. The book, The Lost World, was first published on October 1912, after appearing in serial form in a magazine in March of the same year. The enthusiast response surpassed all expectations, and Conan Doyle was so enthusiastic about his book that he posed for publicity photos dressed as Professor Challenger, one of the main characters. All right. So again, that's from the book Extreme Earth Waterfalls. All right. So there's so many waterfalls coming on of Mount Roraima. Again, an inspiration to the Lost World. There's a whole book on it. It's a really good book that 432 The Drop Radio has gotten into. He's read a lot of it. He's done a lot of videos on Mount Roraima. So go ahead and check that out. Let me see if I got some more stuff. I got actually a lot of stuff, but we're talking about, yeah, you guys see? It's a lost world up there. Look at this rock balancing. Looks like a turtle. So, they were talking about a great flood, right? A tree was cut down and a great flood, right? All right, we're going to get into some videos, right? Does water come out of trees, guys? Does water come out of trees?
Ovo se dešava u zadnjih 20-25 godina, tako, možda i koju godinu više. Ovo je drvo staro preko 100 godina, čak možda i 150. Šupljina se stvorila vjerojatno u sredini i izvor podzemni je probio dok još stvara se ova prelijepa slika koju vidite sad. Legende nema, nismo ljudi koji su skloni izmišljanju nekim, ovo je sasvim prirodna stvar.
This has been pouring for a minute. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Loco. A waterfall. Oh, wow.
Tree has so much water in it that it can quench the thirst of an entire village. This tree is very thick. In big, old baobab trees, some have a hollow middle because several stems grow together from the roots and merge into one big trunk. So where does all this water come from? This tree found in desert areas is known as baobab. But where does the water come from? When the rainy season comes, the roots of this tree pull the water and collect it in the stem. In this way, these big trees collect up to 10,000 to 12,000 liters of water itself depending on the size and health of the tree. Some people believe you can get water from a baobab tree, however this is not entirely accurate. When a baobab tree is cut down, it is heavy due to its high water content. When it dries, it gets much lighter. Baobabs can store approximately 650 liters of water every cubic meter of the tree, which is a lot. However, this water cannot be consumed directly from the tree. Baobab trees are careful with their water. They control how much they require, mostly to keep upright and generate new leaves as the season changes.
Oh, Mr. Jude, did you see what I do? Hey!
Papa, boy, water commoting in the tree.
Hey!
Boy, no be lie, oh.
Water clean, oh. Mama,
Water tree. Eh?
Na sisi watibo boya, oh.
Likombe vile go kima ye, oh.
Hey!
Mama, people don't have bossy water, na waste it.
You wanna film? Mr. Jude, I'm the water don't do boy, you do not go tree, eh?
I say, boy.
Ha! I'll show your woman, oh. That's what I got, boy, eh? Now the car, I need car, I got to a table stick. That I go eat your belly, oh.
Hey! Papa!
Hey!
I say! Hey! Watch it!
I say!
Papa! Hey! See, come on, water!
Mama, you know, we don't have water, now water get forced.
Come on, water!
You know, we don't have water.
Out! In Jesus' name! Out! In Jesus' name!
Hey!
Out!
Mama, me.
You must see me!
You know, come on, can't reach my own man there. Man over the tea.
Hey!
Can't reach my own man there. I say. That's actually no. That's plenty of water for that to feel alive.
Jay! Boy! My everybody!
Count on my drink.
Don't catch you there.
I say, you know, count on. Call my to my one man there, bet.
Why the boy they call water very much? Why they call the tree?
Mama. Hey! I say, I want that too. Hey!
Antiba, boy, Antiba this.
What is pressure at that pressure?
They will take it pressure, the man.
Mama.
Boy, no shark. Shark no.
No, I'm not.
Shark Antiba, boy. Boy, Shark Antiba. Antiba, that kick Antiba. Go lost.
Hey! I was sure to go now. I said, now that clean.
Likome village.
Now that clean.
Go drink it.
Hey! Mommy,
wait,
that's the way the sofa. Hey, see somewhere on them. Try the sofa.
Yeah.
What are they?
The tree. What are no they bush?
Ha! You don't go, I will love.
Eh? Can you remember me? Voilà. Me, I want to take a kind of not na tree. Kind of na Facebook arrangement. Na tree. You want a tree where it come out water? Ha! Boy, for inside village for Likombe for boy.
Water no day. I'm gonna push so for water no day.
God, you wonderful man. You be wonderful, papa. Abehola. Hey! Water for tree.
Hey!
ప్రకాశం జిల్లా అర్ధవీడు మండలం పోతురాజుటూరు గ్రామ సమీపంలోని అటవీ ప్రాంతంలో వింత సంఘటన చోటు చేసుకుంది. స్థానికులు ఓ వేప చెట్టును నరుకుతూ ఉండగా అకస్మాత్తుగా వేప చెట్టు నుండి నీరు ఉబికి వచ్చింది. దారిలా కారుతున్న మంచినీటిని చూసి స్థానికులు ఆశ్చర్యపోయారు. అంతేకాకుండా ఆ నీటిని తాగిన వారు నీరు చాలా స్వచ్ఛంగా ఉందని చెబుతున్నారు. ఈ వింతను చూసేందుకు స్థానిక ప్రజలు ఎగబడ్డారు. ప్రస్తుతం ఈ వీడియో మీడియాలో విస్తృతంగా వైరల్ అవుతోంది.
ಇದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. No, ಇದಾಗ ನೋಡಿ 2 ದಿನ ನೀರು ಹೋಗಿಲ್ವ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? 2 ದಿನ ನೀರು ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು 14 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್. ಏನು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ? ಓಕೆ.
In a sense, this might be called the dark heart of South America.
All right. Wow. Hey, welcome, welcome. Yeah, so we've shown a kind of like a lot. You just joined us. No worries, just watch the replay. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in. I just want to show some pretty ex like this one right here. This is called Siguirija. It looks to me like a. I mean, some people would say, that's a giant's foot stuck on the floor. That's an ankle, but one thing at a time. All right, so yeah, maybe, but they made a monument out of it in the bottom, you know, or they put some what appears to be like dragon feet or whatever. But that looks like a tree right there. This is Devil's Post, Pile in Rainbow Falls. As you guys can see that. Look at the hexagonal. This lava can't do this. They say lava did this, so if they lied to you about the explanation, then you got to question. You got to use your logic. Lava doesn't make hexagonal shapes. Like if you go to the top, guys, it's perfect hexagons. Perfect hexagons like this. All right, just like when you zoom into a cell, a plant cell. This is what you see. All right. Hey, much love and respect. Thanks for anybody who's donated. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. Again, Devil's Post file. Again, just like Devil's Tower, Devil's this, Devil's that, right? Mount Roraima, island in the clouds. Is Mount Roraima really a lost world where dinosaurs still exist? Dracons, Mount Roraima. Again, the Pemon and Capone natives of the region believed that Mount Roraima was once a mighty tree that held all the fruits and tuberous vegetables in the world. And then Makunaima was a trickster who cut down the tree and created a terrible flood. You guys saw the water coming out the trees, right? Now picture that. It still gives out water. It still feeds many rivers, Mount Roraima. A Lost World. The inspiration to the book, The Lost World. And I think it's called Paradise Falls. And the movie Up. You guys know the animated movie? I think that's what they call it. Yeah, Paradise Falls. That's Mount Roraima. The inspiration in that part. Mount Roraima. They went to Mount Roraima, if you didn't know. That's where the old man went with his floating house with the balloons. I know because I watched these things with my kids, when they were younger. So that's Mount Roraima. He went to a tree summit. He was calling it paradise. Paradise, right? Paradise. The legend said it had a lot of fruits, this one tree. Almost like the Garden of Eden. Paradise. It just reminds me of something Christopher Columbus said about this area, about Mount Roraima. If you guys don't mind, for the dismount. Just for the dismount, we might go to that. Let me just make sure I got something here. Oh yeah, before I go, since we're in the Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, all right, everybody who's down, keeping the code, all right. We're gonna read a little bit from Daniel 4 real quick, if you don't mind. Daniel 4 says here, Nebuchadnezzar the king's, or Nebuchadnezzar's second dream. All right. Now, I'm going to get right to the dream because I think the dream is pretty deep. This is New King James Version. You guys can read your own, whatever version you like. I just picked this one. But on verse 10, in his vision, right? Well, he's describing, it says, I was looking and behold, this is Nebuchadnezzar. I was looking and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height was great. The tree grew and became strong. Its height reached to the heavens, and it could be seen to the ends of all the earth. You guys hear how tall this tree was? Its leaves were lovely, its fruit abundant, and in it was food for all. Food for all is fruit abundant, just like the story of the Pemon Indians, right? What's the difference? They're telling us the same thing. The Pemon Indians are telling us the same thing Daniel 4 is telling us about this large tree. The beasts of the field found shade under it, just like it said, people and humans and beasts found shade under this large tree, or the world tree. The birds of the heavens dwelt in its branches, and all flesh was fed from it. I saw in the visions of my head while on my bed, and there was a watcher, a holy one. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are we just talking about, was it Manape, the trickster? Uh-oh. The trickster, huh? A holy one, coming down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, chop down the tree and cut off his branches. Chop down the tree and cut off his branches. Why he say that? Isn't that what the other guy said? He wanted to cut down the tree, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit, just like Manape in the Pemon story. Let the beast get out from under it, and the birds from its branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump. What? Nevertheless, what? Nevertheless, leave the stump and roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass of the field. Let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let him graze with the beasts on the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from that of man. Let him be given the heart of beast, and let 7 times pass over him. Okay? Nevertheless, leave the stump. Again, nevertheless, leave the stump. Nevertheless, leave the stump. Nevertheless, leave the stump. Just like this one, right? Leave the stump. Nevertheless, leave the stump. Cut down the great tree that fed everybody, gave shade to animals, beasts, and humans. Cut down, leave the stump. Nevertheless, just leave the stump. All right? Nevertheless, just leave the stump. Look at this one, guys. Look at that. That's in Australia. When mountains were trees, mountains and tree stumps. Many people know mountains and tree stumps. Look at that. Ancient trees. And we just got the story of the ancient trees, the oldest trees in the world. In New York, you guys saw how big the roots were. These were giant trees. That's been confirmed. These were giant trees. Let's see if we can just pop it up. Oldest trees. New York. Let's get it. You guys know the video. There we go. This one right here. Look at that. I ain't making stuff up. It says the earliest fossilized trees dating back 386 million years have been found at an abandoned quarry in New York. All right, this is a sky view. It was a large tree. So this is the oldest place where you can wander around and map out where fossil trees were standing back in the middle part of the Denovian era. We're talking about the oldest land coming out of the true old world, America. We got large trees and we got the roots to prove it. All right. Tree stumps, huh? The cedars of God. The cedars of God. Look at this. You see that? The hexagon? Look at that. They say this is lava. You know, they tell everybody that's lava. Yeah, see that? They tell everybody this is lava. That looks like a ring of the tree when you cut it. That's a big plateau, so supposedly. All right. Yeah, see that? Giant tree stump. Nevertheless, again, nevertheless, leave the stump and roots in the earth. Leave it there. Nevertheless. This is Mount Asgard. Mount Asgard in Canada. Yeah, and near the oldest part of the world. Yeah, the oldest land near. Yeah, another place. This is Asgard. Was Asgard mythological? Asgard a tree where people lived on? You guys see that? Mount Asgard. Mount Asgard. Okay. Mount Asgard. Wow. Huh. Mount Connor. Mount Connor. Look at that tree stump. Mount Connor. Again, nevertheless, leave the stump and roots on the earth. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh, we got Pico Cao Grande in Sao Tome Island, where they brought the Indians and Sephardic Jews to work the plantations. They got an ancient tree right here too. You guys see that? They say that's an extinct volcano. They say that's an extinct volcano. You guys see that? Look at that. Nevertheless, leave the stump and roots on the earth, chop down the tree, cut off its branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump. What are we talking about? We're talking about a giant tree. Talking about a giant tree. Its height reached the heavens, and it could be seen to the ends of all the earth. Its leaves were lovely, its fruit abundant, and it was food for all. But they cut it down, created great flood. Yeah, the world tree. The world tree is a motive present in several religions and mythologies, particularly in Indo-European, Siberian, Native American religions. The world tree is represented as a colossal tree which supports the heavens, thereby connecting the heavens, the terrestrial world, and through its roots, the underworld. It may also be strongly connected to the motive of the tree of life, but it is the source of wisdom of the ages. Wisdom. Wisdom of the ages. If you remember, can you remember when mountains were trees? Wisdom of the ages. Can you remember when mountains were trees? We're going to leave it right there, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of History or Myth. You guys decide. You know, I have my beliefs, you know. History or myth. Wow. Much love and respect. Thanks for everybody that was here in the live chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. When mountains were trees. I'm looking at the chat just so I can see everybody. Yeah, one love. I'm gonna go watch, see if Jake get beat up. All right, hold on. Let me see what we got here. I saw Ocelot. Yeah, shout out to a lot of the producers in the house. All right. I'm gonna put out some this new stuff from Robin Dre. All right, new stuff from Robin Dre for the dismount. Hold on, guys. For the dismount. Yeah. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys taking the time, especially on a Saturday. I'll give you your Saturday back. Much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. Shabbat shalom. Wow.
Robert Dre, bye.